Some people don't try to ruin you with obvious cruelty. They do it quietly. They chip away at your confidence, your clarity, your sense of self, one subtle moment at a time. And the most unsettling part is that you feel it long before you can explain it. There's a heaviness in your chest when they speak, a tension in your body that doesn't happen around anyone else, a growing confusion about why you never feel like the strongest version of yourself in their presence. Stoic philosophy teaches that true harm begins not with the final strike, but with the moments we dismiss our own intuition, when we tolerate what shakes our peace, when we stay where we slowly diminish. You deserve more than that, and awareness is your first form of protection. In this video, you will learn 5 unmistakable signs that someone is quietly trying to destroy you, emotionally, mentally, or socially, and how to protect your inner world with calm, grounded, stoic strength. Sign 1. They subtly undermine your confidence. Some people don't destroy you loudly. They destroy you quietly. They destroy you slowly. And they destroy you by making you doubt yourself first. You rarely see the attack coming. It doesn't arrive as an insult you can fight or a confrontation you can prepare for. Instead, it comes wrapped in humor, in casual remarks, in "I'm just joking" or "I'm just being honest." And because of that subtlety, you begin to wonder if the problem is actually them, or if maybe, somehow, it's you. This is precisely where people who want to break you gain power. Inside the confusion between your instinct and your denial. They don't need to tell you that you're not enough. They just need you to start believing it. It begins with small comments only you notice. A remark said too lightly. A joke that feels a little too personal. A laugh that doesn't sound supportive. A tone that suggests you should doubt something you were once proud of. These tiny cuts are intentional. Their purpose is to make you question your own strength, your own worth, your own direction. Your body recognizes the truth before your mind does. You feel tension, you feel heaviness. You walk away from conversations feeling like a dimmer version of yourself. But because nothing major happened, you dismiss the feeling, you rationalize it, you gaslight yourself into staying quiet. But a Stoic doesn't silence their inner wisdom simply because the threat appears small. Marcus Aurelius said, "If something external harms you, it is not the thing itself, but your judgment of it." What hurts you is not the single comment. It is the slow shift in your self-perception. It is the steady erosion of the way you once stood, spoke, and believed in yourself. Confidence doesn't collapse all at once. It erodes one comment at a time, one dismissal at a time, one subtle humiliation at a time. People who want to destroy you understand this perfectly. They know they don't need to shatter your world. They just need to loosen the internal foundation that holds you together. They want you to question yourself so frequently that eventually you stop trusting your own voice. When that happens, they no longer need to attack. You will shrink on your own. Soon, you may notice that you speak more softly around them. You share fewer ideas. You wait for their reaction before you believe in your own decisions. You second-guess choices you were confident in just hours earlier. This shrinking is not weakness. It is the result of emotional erosion designed to keep you small. This is psychological destruction, not breaking your life, but breaking your identity. Stoicism calls you to awareness, the first step toward reclaiming your internal power. When you feel small in someone's presence, that feeling is not random. It is a message. Your intuition is alerting you to what your logic has not yet accepted. Trust that message. It has protected you longer than reason has existed. Ask yourself the questions most people avoid. Why do I feel less like myself around this person? Why do I always adjust who I am when they appear? Why do I walk away drained instead of grounded? These questions expose the silent damage, and once you see it, the illusion breaks. You realize the pattern. You realize the intention. You realize that the version of you that existed before their influence is still there, waiting to stand up again. A Stoic does not waste time fighting for someone's approval. They fight to maintain their own clarity. They refuse to swallow poison disguised as humor. They refuse to hand their confidence to someone threatened by it. A person who wants to destroy you is often someone who fears your strength. They cannot rise, so they attempt to lower you. They cannot match your potential, so they try to dull it. They cannot control your path, so they attempt to reshape the way you see yourself. You owe them nothing. Not your confidence, not your silence, not your shrinking. To protect yourself, begin with the simplest and strongest step. Trust your intuition. It speaks before your mind catches up. It warns you before your logic forms the words. Follow that truth, then name the pattern. Once identified, it cannot manipulate you in the shadows anymore. Awareness is a blade that cuts through their subtle tactics. Next, refuse to internalize their comments. Their words may reach your ears, but you decide whether they enter your mind. Let them fall to the ground, powerless. And finally, remember this. You cannot be destroyed by someone who depends on your doubt. Their power ends the moment you reclaim your belief in yourself, because the truth is simple. They were never stronger than you. They only look stronger when you forget who you are. And now, you see clearly again. Sign 2, they isolate you from your strengths. People who want to destroy you have one core strategy. They don't attack your weaknesses first. They attack your strengths, because your strengths are the things they fear most. And the cruel truth is this: they don't always do it by confronting your strengths directly. They do it by separating you from the people, habits, environments, and inner qualities that keep you powerful. In other words, they isolate you from what makes you you. At first, isolation doesn't feel like isolation. It feels like a subtle distance, a shift in energy, a quiet discouragement from doing the things you love. They may ridicule your goals, dismiss your passions, or trivialize the things that give your life meaning. They know that if they weaken the pillars holding you upright, you will eventually collapse on your own. People who want to destroy you rarely say, "I don't want you to grow." Instead, they say things like, "Why are you trying so hard? You're not as good as you think. Don't get your hopes up. You're changing too much." These phrases are not harmless. They are strategic. Their purpose is to create distance between you and your inner fire. They might discourage you from spending time with the people who inspire you. They call them bad influences, dramatic, or too much. Their goal isn't to protect you, it's to cut you off from those who remind you of your worth. They want to be the loudest voice in your life, because once they control the narrative, they control you. And here's the part most people miss. Isolation doesn't only happen externally, it happens internally too. They make you feel embarrassed about your ambitions. They convince you that your ideas aren't realistic. They imply that your dreams are foolish. Little by little, you begin shrinking your world, narrowing your opportunities and playing small, not because you want to, but because they've taught you to. Stoic philosophy warns us of this danger. Epictetus taught that your freedom lies in your ability to choose your associations, your influences, and your interpretations. But people who want to destroy you try to take that freedom away by shaping how you see yourself and who you think you belong with. They don't want you around people who lift you higher. They don't want you doing things that make you stronger. They don't want you connected to anything that empowers your identity. Because a strong, supported, self-assured version of you is impossible for them to control. You may begin noticing that they get irritated when you succeed. Their mood shifts when you talk about your progress. They become distant or cold when you celebrate a win. And instead of being happy for you, they find a way to minimize your accomplishment. People who want to destroy you don't just isolate you from others. They isolate you from your victories. from your sense of progress, from your belief that you deserve more. You start hiding good news because you don't want their reaction. You stop sharing your goals because they always find a way to tear them apart. You avoid talking about your dreams because you don't want to feel stupid for having them. This is not normal. This is not love. This is not friendship. This is psychological weakening. Stoicism reminds us that strength is not only built through discipline but through alignment, being connected to the people and habits that nourish your character. Marcus Aurelius surrounded himself with mentors who sharpened his mind. Epictetus taught that you become like the company you keep. Seneca warned that the wrong people can corrupt even the strongest spirit. If they isolate you from your strengths, they are isolating you from your future. So how do you protect yourself? First, notice who you must shrink around. If you cannot express ambition, joy, intelligence, or confidence without someone reacting negatively, that is not a safe connection. Second, reconnect with the people who make you feel more alive, not less. A single supportive conversation can undo months of psychological corrosion. Your environment matters more than you know. Third, reclaim the habits that build your identity. Your routines, your goals, your passions, your commitments. These are your anchors. When someone tries to pull you away from them, they're trying to pull you away from yourself. Fourth, remember the Stoic truth. No one can diminish your spirit unless you assist them. You may not control their behavior, but you control your allegiance to your values, your growth, your inner strength. Lastly, ask yourself this powerful question. Who am I when I'm not being lowered by someone who fears my potential? The answer is your true self, unrestricted, unmanipulated, unisolated. And that version of you is unstoppable. If someone is isolating you from your strengths, they are trying to destroy you from the inside out. Your task now is simple. Return to what makes you powerful. And never apologize for reconnecting with the parts of you that they hoped you would lose. Sign 3. They attack you. When you're most vulnerable, people who want to destroy you don't strike when you're strong. They strike when you're tired. They strike when you're hurting. They strike when you're least able to defend your mind. And that is not an accident. It is strategy. A person with destructive intentions studies your patterns. They pay attention to the moments when your guard drops, when your doubts grow louder, when your energy is low, or when life has already placed weight on your shoulders. They know that the easiest time to destabilize someone is not when they're standing tall, but when they're already bending under pressure. They don't attack you when your confidence is full. They attack you when your confidence is cracked. You may notice that they suddenly become critical on the days you're overwhelmed. They bring up your past mistakes at the exact moment you're feeling insecure. They question your decisions right when your mind is already clouded with stress. They sense your emotional weather, and they choose the storm to add their lightning. Stoic philosophy teaches that no external event can truly harm you unless you allow it inside. But when you're vulnerable, your defenses weaken. The inner fortress that normally protects your mind from judgment, manipulation, and emotional sabotage becomes easier for someone to breach. And those who want to destroy you know exactly how to take advantage of that opening. They don't comfort you when you're down. They capitalize on it. If you share something painful, they use it as ammunition later. If you show doubt, they magnify it. If you confess fear, they feed it. They pretend to be listening, but they are storing information. Not to understand you, but to weaponize your vulnerability. Your vulnerability becomes their opportunity. Your honesty becomes their leverage. Your openness becomes their entry point. And this is where the deepest harm occurs. Not in what they say, but in how they make you feel about your weakest moments. You start to regret ever opening up. You begin to hide your struggles, even from people who genuinely care. You blame yourself for trusting the wrong person, and slowly, you disconnect from your own emotional truth because it no longer feels safe to express it. This emotional withdrawal is exactly what they want. Because when you suppress your truth, you become easier to manipulate. People who want to destroy you don't need you to break. They just need you to stop believing you deserve support. Once they isolate you emotionally, once they convince you that your vulnerability is a liability, you begin fighting life alone. And an isolated mind is far easier to influence, distort, and control. Stoicism teaches a different understanding of vulnerability. Epictetus reminded us, it's not the things that upset us, but our opinions about them. Your vulnerability is not the problem, their exploitation of it is. A Stoic does not fear openness. A Stoic fears the hands of the wrong person holding that openness. You may start noticing patterns. They show up only when you fail, not when you succeed. They're present when you're uncertain, never when you're confident. They're loud when you're weak, silent when you're strong. This inconsistency reveals intention. A supportive person strengthens you in your weakest moments. A destructive person aims at you in your weakest moments. Ask yourself, who shows up only when I'm struggling? Who becomes more controlling when I'm hurting? Who seems to prefer me broken rather than whole? These questions expose a truth your intuition already knows, and once acknowledged, the power dynamic begins to shift. So how do you protect yourself from someone who attacks your vulnerability? First, recognize their timing. Once you notice that someone consistently targets you when you're weakest, you're no longer blind to their strategy. Awareness is your first line of defense. Second, create emotional boundaries. Vulnerability is not for everyone. You have the right to choose who receives access to your internal world. Being open is powerful, but only when shared with people who honor it. Third, strengthen the inner fortress. Stoicism teaches grounding. Pause, breathe, and separate your internal state from someone else's agenda. Even when you are vulnerable, you are not powerless. You can choose interpretation, distance, and self-protection. Fourth, reclaim your narrative. You are not broken for feeling deeply. You are not weak for having bad days. You are human, and vulnerability is not a weapon unless you place it in the wrong hands. And finally, remember this truth. People who attack you when you're vulnerable reveal who they are. You, on the other hand, reveal who you are when you decide to rise again. Your vulnerability is not the end of your strength. It is the beginning of your clarity. Because once you see how someone behaves when you are down, you learn everything about whether they deserve a place in your life when you rise. And rise. You will. Sign for their words and actions never match. Nothing is more destabilizing than someone whose words pull you in while their actions push you away. Nothing is more confusing than a person who promises loyalty but behaves with disloyalty. And nothing is more dangerous than someone who appears kind while acting in ways that slowly erode your trust. When a person wants to destroy you, they don't attack with consistency. They attack with inconsistency. They keep you off balance by being warm one day, cold the next, supportive in public, dismissive in private, apologetic when confronted, but unchanged when observed. Their unpredictability becomes the tool that weakens your sense of reality. A person whose words and actions never align is not confused. They are controlling the emotional weather around you. At first, you try to rationalize it. They said they cared, so you assume their actions must have an explanation. They said they would be there for you, so you excuse every moment they disappear. They said they respected you, so you ignore the subtle behaviors that contradict that claim. You bend your expectations, adjust your standards, and reinterpret their patterns through the lens of what they said instead of what they did. But Stoicism teaches the opposite approach. A Stoic evaluates behavior, not promises. Actions, not intentions. Patterns, not excuses. Marcus Aurelius warned that humans often deceive themselves with pleasant words, but truth lives in what is done, not spoken. Inconsistency is not an accident. It is information. It reveals the internal chaos of the person standing in front of you and their capacity to bring that chaos into your life. People who want to destroy you use inconsistency to create emotional instability. One moment, they make you feel valued. Next, they make you question your worth. They lift you up just enough so that when they pull away, the drop hurts more. This unpredictable cycle becomes addictive, pulling you into a psychological loop of confusion, hope, disappointment, and self-doubt. They don't want you to leave. They want you to stay uncertain. When someone's words and actions don't match, you begin shifting your behavior to maintain the connection. You try harder, you give more, you ask less. You work to fix the imbalance, even though you didn't create it. Your world becomes shaped by their inconsistency, and you start to believe that your stability depends on their approval. This is the trap, and it works because inconsistency creates internal tension. You constantly wonder which version of them you will get. You constantly adjust yourself to avoid tension. You constantly hope they will finally become who they pretend to be. But people who want to destroy you use inconsistency for one purpose: to keep you emotionally obedient. Once you're focused on managing their behavior, you're no longer focused on your own needs, boundaries, or well-being. You stop seeing clearly. You stop trusting yourself. You start believing that the chaos is normal, when in reality, it is manipulation. A Stoic approach brings you back to the truth. If their actions contradict their words, believe the actions. Because actions reveal character. Words reveal intentions, and intentions mean nothing without consistency. People who want to destroy you often play two roles, the public persona and the private reality. In front of others, they behave kindly, gently, even admirably. Behind closed doors, their tone shifts, their energy changes, their respect disappears. This duality makes you feel isolated, because when you try to explain their behavior, no one else sees it. That isolation is part of the strategy. If they can make you feel like you're the only one who sees the truth, they can make you doubt that truth. This doubt keeps you silent. Silence keeps you stuck. And being stuck keeps you vulnerable to their influence. So how do you protect yourself? First, document the pattern internally. You don't need proof for others. You need clarity for yourself. Notice how often their actions contradict their expressions of care, loyalty, or respect. Second, refuse to build expectations from words alone. A person's promises are worthless if their actions never follow. Replace hope with observation. Third, pull back emotionally. Not dramatically, not angrily. Simply step into neutrality. When you stop rewarding inconsistency with emotional investment, their power weakens. Fourth, set boundaries. Not to change them, but to protect yourself. You do not need to confront every contradiction. You only need to stop participating in the confusion they create. And finally, remember the Stoic truth. What a person does is who they are. Everything else is performance. A person whose words and actions never match is not unreliable. They are dangerous. They destabilize your clarity. They distort your judgment. They fracture your sense of security. People like this do not destroy you with a single act. They destroy you through 1,000 contradictions. And the moment you stop believing their words, the moment you start believing their actions, is the moment their power over you ends. Sign 5. They want power over you, not connection. Some people don't want partnership, they want control. They don't want mutual respect. They want dominance. They don't want a relationship with you. They want power over you. A person who wants to destroy you does not seek harmony. They seek leverage. They measure their importance by how much influence they have over your emotions, your decisions, and your sense of self. If they can shape how you feel, they can shape how you live. And that is the kind of power they chase. They are not interested in your happiness. They are interested in your obedience. Pay attention to how they react when you do something that strengthens you, whether it's growth, independence, confidence, or self-respect. A supportive person celebrates your expansion, but someone who wants power over you becomes irritated, jealous, dismissive, or suddenly cold. Your strength threatens their control, so they instinctively try to shrink it. When you rise, they retreat. When you shine, they dim the light. When you gain clarity, they increase the confusion. This type of person wants you emotionally dependent. If they can make you rely on their approval, their attention, or their validation, they become the center of your internal world. And once they are the center, they can push or pull you however they choose. This isn't a connection, it's psychological possession. People who want to destroy you want you small enough to manage. They want you doubting yourself, so you seek guidance from them. They want you to be uncertain, so you hesitate to act without them. They want you emotionally exhausted, so you stop resisting their influence. Their goal is not companionship, it's control disguised as closeness. Stoic philosophy exposes this dynamic. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You become what you give your attention to." And people who want power over you understand this perfectly. If they can control your attention, they can control you. That's why they create emotional highs and lows. That's why they pull away and then return. That's why they act warm one moment and cold the next. They want your entire identity revolving around them. A Stoic does not allow their inner world to be governed by someone else's chaos. Stoicism teaches that self-mastery is the highest form of freedom, and anyone who tries to dominate your emotions is trying to steal that freedom. So how do you recognize this pattern clearly? Notice whether they celebrate your independence or fear it. Notice whether they support your friendships or try to isolate you. Notice whether they respond to your boundaries with respect or with punishment. Notice whether they give freely or only give when it increases their influence. Every reaction reveals intention. A person who wants connection wants you strong. A person who wants control wants you weak. Protection begins the moment you reclaim your attention. When you stop giving emotional energy to their mood swings, their approval, their disapproval, their validation, or their manipulation, their power dissolves. You start remembering who you are without their influence. Set boundaries. Create emotional distance. Return to the habits, people, and values that reconnect you to your inner strength. And most importantly, remember this. Someone who wants power over you cannot destroy you unless you hand them the authority. Authority over your emotions, authority over your choices, authority over your worth. You're not here to be controlled. You're here to grow, rise, and choose your own path. Fully, freely, and without permission from anyone who fears your strength. You've just uncovered 5 powerful signs that someone may be quietly trying to destroy you through doubt, isolation, vulnerability, inconsistency, and control. Recognizing these patterns is not about becoming paranoid. It's about becoming aware. Awareness is the first shield of Stoic strength, and the moment you see clearly, manipulation loses its power. Now the work begins. Pay attention to how people make you feel. Rebuild the boundaries that were weakened. Reconnect with the habits and relationships that restore your inner strength. Most importantly, choose yourself. Calmly, consistently, unapologetically. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Your presence here shows a commitment to your own growth and emotional sovereignty, and that deserves respect. If this message helped you, let me know in the comments and share it with someone who needs it. Take care of your mind, protect your peace, and I'll see you in the next video.